Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the British Pokemon League show. It has been a long time coming, guys. I've missed this quite a lot. I've been very excited to come back and do the show for you guys. Just IRL being super busy, but we've been super busy here at the British Pokemon League as well. We have just completed our season number 6, and we are sort of at the end of it now to complete grand finals. We will be doing the rest of the playoffs as a separate show in a YouTube video in the coming weeks, so please do keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, as I said, we do have grand finals to look forward to today, and boy, is it going to be an exciting one. It always is when we hit grand finals. There's always some sort of crazy scenario, crazy RNG going on as Crizzle's been on the wrong end of before. Thrills, spills, and all that jazz, all to look forward to in the next half an hour or so. Before we get into that, we're going to do a little bit of a chat. I've got Guardian and Ted from our Discord server to chat to in just a little bit. We're going to take a look over at the Season 6 Premier Division League table first of all. As you can see there, a couple of surprise names up at the top. Polytoad, Belly Drummers, Chillin' Chespins and PSV, all promoted from the Championship Division last season, make up the top 3 of our regular season, followed close behind by South Croydon Saws and Kyoga Canucks, and then Season 5 champion Miami Heat on a bit of a whirlwind and a bit of a downer of a second half of a regular season. And then we have our Season 2 and Season 3 champion Aaron Inglorious Surfers, and Season 4 champion and Season 5 finalist Space City PC meme, rounding out that top 8 to make it into playoffs. 9th and 10th place, Deimos Deoxys and Newcastle Thunderers, both playoff contestants last season, find themselves in relegation playoffs. You can find out the sort of end result of the relegation playoff matches in the YouTube video coming in the next few weeks. And relegated, then both promoted from the championship last season, but going straight back down. It is Dicey Sacramento Scorbunny and Ted's Sky Strikers, then just unable to adapt to life in the Premier Division and back down to Championship Division they go. So it's not all rosy in Premier Division for some of them, but 3 of the promoted teams having one hell of a season. Polytoad Belly Drummers getting that regular season title at the first time of asking. So let's take a quick look at the playoffs bracket then, and as you can see, first and second place sit in our grand finals. So not only have we got 2 brand new grand finalists for the first time since season 2, we have 2 teams that were, as of last season in the Championship Division and now our grand finalists, and both, potentially 2, but one best of 3, but potentially 2 best of 3s away from being our Season 6 British Pokemon League champion. Encore overcoming Jenny, Aaron T. Marshall, and then losing out to Sick and his Chillin' Chespins in winners finals, but then beating Meme Base God in losers finals, and Sick beating Rylex, Kyoga Canucks, beating Meme himself, Space City PC, and then beating out Encore to make it into grand final. So, as you know, in grand finals, the player from the winners bracket only need win that first best of 3 to be crowned champion. The player from losers bracket must win that first best of 3 to reset the bracket, and then we go to a second best of 3 to decide the champion. This has only happened once before, all the way back in season 1. So it ought to be a very spicy and exciting grand finals. Both these teams first and second in regular season. So yeah, you would argue the 2 best teams from the season in grand finals, as it should be. But let's take a look at the teams. I'll just pause the music here and we'll get into our voice chat with Guardian and with Ted. Hello Guardian, hello Ted, how are you both doing?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Very good.
Yeah, glad to hear it, Ted. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. Yeah, let's take a look at both of these 2 teams. I don't know if you can see that on the stream just yet. But yeah, Chillin' Chespins and Polytoad Belly Drummer. So, Guardian, you're pretty familiar. We'll start talking about 16 first. You're pretty familiar with Sick from the WPL. What are you sort of expecting from him in this grand finals?
So, in the past, because he's played in I think 3 divisions with us now.
Right. Okay.
He's kind of been Mr. Untouchable. This current season is showing a little different for us, but this definitely looks like a Sick team. He's got Guard Shop, Gardevoir, no Rotom Heat this time, which is what I'm very much used to seeing from him. But instead mix it up with Gardevoir, or sorry, not Gardevoir, with Palafin, Kilowattrel, Tauros. This is a good team.
Yeah, I mean he's got the Taros Blaze over Rotom. It's it's the same difference I suppose in six hands. But
Yeah,
he previously didn't have Palafin. He picked it up just for playoffs. I actually I'll quote Siki. He picked it up for this matchup in particular. So I would think that's very sick behaviour. Ted, what are your thoughts on 16? You've obviously come up against him during regular season. What do you think he brings to the table in this grand final?
Yeah, as a person who has never beaten him, I can just say that the team itself is really good. You may just say that he may just win this in a complete sweep. But knowing Encore, he won't allow that. But I'm expecting probably to see the Palafin coming into this matchup, like you mentioned, like he did pick up the Palafin for this matchup specifically. So I'm looking forward to see what he does with that in this matchup.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing that Sick has made really good use of this season is both the Garchomp and the Hydreigon. The Garchomp has done a lot of, he tends to stick it behind a substitute and plays it really well around the protects. And then he's just been able to hit the terroring on the Hydreigon at seemingly the perfect time every week. It's either going for like the steel type terror or the fire type terror, and the same on the Garchomp as well. For two Pokemon with four times weaknesses. I've been banned before calling out four times weak Pokemon, but he's really managed them quite well. And I think something that Encore does need to be careful of is that Kilowattrel. He has dropped the Meowscarada to get off the Petal Blizzard now, which activates the Wind Power, I believe the ability is called. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that.
yes.
Yeah, Wind Power.
Yeah. So obviously that might not be an option for him now, but can still activate in other ways, and that Kilowattrel can be quite a nuisance. Over onto Encore's side then. So Encore actually lost out to Sick in winners finals. Ted, what do you think he does differently here to beat Sick in this one?
I think most likely we're gonna see a little bit more of that Salamence action.
Mm.
I know watching from the replay, so he wanted to lean on the rain mode a little bit more, but that's that kind of wasn't really the plan. I think he this time around he's gonna lean more into the Salamence and Tailwinding, giving that support with like the Toad Scroll, and potentially may even bring the Trick Room option as well with their Rangaroo.
Mm.
Um, because the majority of six team is really fast. Outside of Earthworm and Knuckle Stack, and the Glimmet, I think potentially we may see a Trick Room mode or some Trick Room variant of some sort here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in losers final he brought the Trick Room mode with was it Bulldozer, Earthquake, or Rangaroo, which activated Weakness Policy on Belly Bolt, which was like a really sort of lethal duo. Meme just sort of had no answer for. So
As
that,
like even without a weakness policy, instruct parabolic charge from a belly bowl it can be very scary.
oh yeah, if you activate that Electromorph, I don't know how to even freaking say it.
Electromorphosis.
Yeah,
That's the one. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that word.
Yeah, that word. Yeah, that gets activated in the instruct parabolic charge. It's going to be not only doing some big damage at belly bolt, it's going to be able to reclaim some of that HP back. And that I think HP management on the belly bolt is going to be really really big for Encore keeping that thing alive if he does go for that trick room mode. I know in the last game, Sick had quite a few issues with the Dreadnought. Guardian, do you think that's maybe something Encore leans on, as Ted mentioned, like maybe goes. I know you tried the rain mode before, but do you think he goes along that route, or do you think, like Ted said, he goes along the Salaman's Tailwind?
I I think if Dreadnought comes, it comes as a standalone piece, not necessarily as part of a full Rancor, because Pelipper would also boost Palafin, which, as Sick has mentioned, was brought for this matchup. So I would be concerned with bringing a rain setter for this in particular.
Yeah, the last thing that you want
Um,
to be doing is activating that Palafin, especially if it gets in hero mode.
yeah, like it's enabling is going to be that would probably end any shot Encore has at the title.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of mons on 16 that sort of can make use of that, and I think one thing that sort of whether Sick will bring it, I don't know. I can't really recall whether he's brought it much, but that Cryogonal obviously gets freeze dry, which is going to really cause a lot of problems for quite a few things on 6 team. 6 team, sorry, Encore's team. You've got Salamence 4 times weak to ice, Tozgrill 4 times weak to ice. Obviously, it's going to be super effective against Purpa, and I believe Dreadnought as well, and then Cacturn. You know,
I believe it's neutral against Dreadnought, but yeah, absolutely Cacturn.
yeah.
Actually, I have the type chart right in front of me. Hang on. Dreadnought actually, yeah, it'd be neutral.
It'd be neutral, yeah. Well, I mean, either way, that's you've got a mon there that if positioned correctly, it can be quite bulky and can cause Encore quite a lot of problems in this matchup, I think. One thing we've seen Encore bring a few times is that Heracross. Do you think if it comes, do you think there's a good Terra type for that thing to go to with it having that 4 times weakness?
Terra, looking into this team, I don't know what defensive Terra he'd realistically use because it's going to be super situational. If he decides to go offensive, then I could see one of the fun sets that been seeing run around this season is like not this season, but just in Scarlet and Violet, is like the loaded dice sets because it gets pin missile, it gets rock blast, it gets bolt seed. It's got plenty of things to abuse it, so it gets plenty of coverage. But against this team, I don't know which one of those would be realistic to bring.
Yeah. Do you think it just doesn't work in this matchup so well?
I don't. I think if he just more traditionally like Guts Flame Orb, I think it definitely has a place.
Mm-hmm.
Because nothing on this team really wants to take a boosted facade from Heracross.
Oh no, absolutely not. You go for something like a normal Terra Guts boosted facade.
Mm-hmm.
I think really also like something else that could be situational is like having Moxie Heracross. Bring it in on something that's really low, like a Palafin or a Gardevoir, and take it out with with a CC or with the facade, and getting that Moxie boost instantly would be nice as well. But that's only situational.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's going to come or not.
Yeah. I think he's maybe brought it once or twice during the regular season. I don't remember if he's brought it at all during playoffs. I seem to remember like a Dragon Terror on the Heracross at some point. I think it was Heracross that went for it.
That's definitely not bad. He doesn't, outside of the Gardevoir and Garchomp, he really doesn't have. Well, sorry, he also has High Dragon. Yeah, I guess he has decent Dragon coverage to deal with it if Heracross becomes Terra Dragon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think High Dragon and Gardevoir sort of more than comfortably would deal with that. So predictions then. What are we sort of expecting? What do you think is the sort of ideal 6 for Sick and the ideal 6 for Encore in this matchup? Guardian.
So I'm gonna guess he goes kind of full Disquake here with a couple other strong pieces of support. I think full offense from Sick. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking High Dragon, Palafin, Gardevoir, Kilowattrel, Tauros, Garchomp.
Yeah, I would say they're as strong as 6, right?
They're as strong as 6. You could make an argument for Crocodile. I don't remember if it gets Frost Breath or not, but if he decides to bring that Tauros,
it does.
Frost Breath.
Yeah, it does get Frost Breath.
And it does.
Yeah, it does.
Then Anger Point is definitely on the table.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that actually.
And having been the victim of that in the last WPL season, that's a very it can be very strong. Yeah, like if it's
very scary,
like especially in the game, if he doesn't reveal it game 1 and brings it game 2, if Encore's not ready for it, then oh my goodness, it can cause a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Ted, what do you think for 6 team of 6?
I think he brings an Earthworm here, so keeping that in mind, I think it's Garchomp, Earthworm, Kilowattrel, Gardevoir, Palafin, and Hydreigon.
Yeah.
I think those 6 are nice. He could bring the Taurus Blaze like Guardian mentioned, but I think Earthworm looks pretty decent in this matchup.
Yeah, and I think with there as well, what you mentioned, you've got a lot of good synergy there. Garchomp's Earthquake synergizes really well with Orthworm. If he does decide to bring Hydreigon, Kilowattrel again, there you've got the sort of ground resistance as well. So I think like that could be a pretty strong shout. What about Encore's team of six, Ted? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think Goldango and Salamence are probably going to play a major role in this battle if Encore wants to win. Sorry. So with those two, I think in the back, at least the last four, potentially Belly Bolt, Oranguru, and then for the finals, who I would say Toad School and Dreadnought.
Hmm.
Um, just leaving the Pelipper in the back and just relying on that Rage Powder Shell Smash shenanigans could be something
Mm.
that he could explore a little bit here. Um, but like the to replace like the final two, I guess if you didn't want to bring that, I would probably say Heracross and Pelipper. But like we said before, like Pelipper enables the Palafin too much, so that may be something that he wants to leave on the bench.
Yeah, you don't really want to be taking the rain boosted wave crash from Polyphon over there. I actually completely forgot that Dreadnought got Shell Smash. I hadn't even like taken that into consideration.
I
That's
didn't
good. It's
I didn't think
interesting.
about that either.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, one thing to note that Encore has, I believe he did it with the Sandlands, is Focus Energy and then Draco Meteor. Sort of a more special attacking Salamence as well. It seemed it caused Janet all sorts of problems earlier on in playoffs. I mean, it was more of a situational thing. I think it was more to deal with Dozo after the boosts, but either way, you know, your critical hit Draco Meteor, if you're landing it, is gonna probably OHKO most things.
There's very few that stands up to that.
Yeah, yeah. Guardian, what do you think for Encore's team of six?
So I can definitely see the argument for Goldango here. I think Weavile Salamence comes. If he decides to go for a fast mode. Otherwise, I think if he has access to both, trying to switch it up both games, Oranguru, Billy Bolt's a thing. The Dreadnought, I believe, comes, and I think the last one is a. I think the last one could be a split between Toad Scroll, Heracross, or Quillfish. And the reason I say Quillfish is just the Intimidate's nice. Yes, Salamence has it. I think double intimidate, like in cycling through, stops. It hurts a lot of the offensive pressure that Sick has on his team.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, especially the likes of your Garchomp, Palafin, you know, the two really big heavy hitters there. You're going to want to put a stop to.
Garchomp, Palafin, the Tauros Blaze.
Yeah,
Um,
Taurus. Yeah,
it's Orthorm to an extent. Like it, I don't know if he needs to double intimidate, but I could definitely see an argument for it.
yeah. Quillfish gets Swift Swim as well, right?
Yeah, it
Yes,
does.
yes, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah. So yes, I suppose again you've got a way to synergize should the rain mode come. So there's two different options there. Whether I don't know whether get using Swift Swim would really get the most out of Quillfish. I think, as you said there, the double intim sort of rotation there could be more down up Encore's alley for this game, but it'd be certainly interesting if it does come. It'd be a very out of pocket pick. I don't think he's really brought it all that much this season. Um, Cacturn is something that is definitely a bit of a sleeper pick in my opinion. He brought it against Aaron during in playoffs, and that thing really caused a lot of issues. Um, I forget its abilities now. I'm sure one of them Sandville is the other one Water Absorb or something.
It is.
Yeah,
It is
so
water absorb.
that could be quite a like a you know a pocket pick for dealing with something like the Palafin if the rain mode did come. You know, you've got a switch in into a jet punch or a wave crash there, and Cacturn's gonna just you know eat that up, like it's a Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
So, I think that's you know if Encore really wanted to keep his cards close to his chest, then that could potentially be an option there for maybe one of the later games. Um, do you think either of them switch it up much? So I don't know if you heard or are familiar as a Guardian. Obviously, if the loser wins the first best of three, we go to a second best of three, and they're then able to change up their teams. Do you think like um, do you think they'll have made any adjustments going into that second best of three? You know, do you think they've maybe got something else up their sleeves, that something different might come for that second best of three that'll be more of a surprise?
I mean, outside of like maybe switching like from a fast mode to a trigger mode for Encore side, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think Sick changes his game plan.
No.
I think hyper offense is his friend. It's the best way to go in his case, especially into this team where it does look like it needs a good amount of setup to get going. Um, so, but I think you'll see some. I think you'll see some changes on one side, not necessarily on the other.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right there. Really, with six team, it kind of like picks itself with that sort of team, the strongest six, and maybe like a pocket pick of off Wham or Cry going or something as a six would maybe to shake things up. But otherwise, I can't see it straying too much from that six. What do you think, Ted? Do you think there's many changes going into a second best of three?
For six side, no, not too much. I think what he has currently is perfectly fine. Like hyper offense, like Guardian said, I think that's his best way of counteracting Encore's team. As for Encore, if he does bring the Pelipper in the first game sets, then I think he benches it for the second series. So I think that's the only thing that he would probably change. But other than that, I don't think he changes a whole lot.
Yeah, I just don't think there'd be too many changes. Yeah, I suppose it's kind of open for both players. If they're sort of confident with a six, they might not even change things up with a second best of three. I suppose a lot of it comes down to how you play in the best of three. The first one or the second one. It's not um, it's not purely on the team, but I suppose that is the beauty of draft is you can bring something as a surprise that would be quote unquote off meta. Um, so score predictions then. What are we expecting, Guardian? Do you think we go with a second best of three? Do you think it's a close, um, you know, goes to a game three in the first best of three, and that's how it ends, or what are you expecting?
So I don't personally know much about Encore's playstyle. I know obviously he's doing very well. All I can really speak of is my experience with Sick. Um, Having said that, I think that if he brings developer, then Sick wins this 2-1 in the first series. I think if he doesn't, I think it goes to a second. I think it goes to the second series.
Yeah, do you think so?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Um, it's they with how these teams are built. Like it's it's a fairly even matchup. It looks like just one's a little bit more natural offense one that compared to a team that kind of has to work for it a little bit.
yeah. I see it. The
Um,
team's got a little bit more setup going on.
but this definitely is not a bad matchup in anybody's favor.
No, it's
Um,
very evenly matched across the board.
mhm.
What about you, Ted? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Guardian. I think this will be a 2-1 victory to either side in the first series. However, I do think if Encore doesn't respect a six team and like what he has to offer, especially like the hyper offense, and he takes too long setting up his like either Dreadnoughts, Elements, Goldango, whatever he decides to bring, then I think Sick can easily take the 2-0 win if that were to occur.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the thing to be afraid of there is just how much sick leans on setting up substitute and things for Garchomp, um, or as we've seen with him use a few times the off worm going for a shed tail and just getting something behind his substitute, and then making good use of his protects. He does use a lot of protects. You spend too long setting up and six behind a substitute. He's already going to get that damage off and that advantage there. I think so. I think Encore needs to try and just sort of match the hyper offense. I'm gonna go out on a whim and just say that I think we're going to and this is not to discredit either teams, but six ability either. But I think we go to a second best of three personally, and then I think it's a sick 2-1. Um, I think one thing I've learned, well, with both players as well, but one thing I've learned with Sick is that how quickly he adapts. And I speak to that purely because of how quickly he builds teams. I'm
Yeah,
sure you've got some familiarity with that Guardian of like the guy won't have done any prep and he's just sat there building a team on the train 5 minutes before the match and somehow is like magically built the perfect six to counteract your team, and you're like, what has happened here?
Yeah, no, he prides himself along with Kevs on like not prepping. Uh, definitely has a little bit better track record with that.
Yeah.
His game sense is just really good, and I think the ability, like especially in a closed team sheet like scenario,
Mm.
to find information and adjust accordingly. I'm not gonna say it's unmatched, but it's scary how well he adjusts and how quickly he can adjust, even on a spot in the middle of a game.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. He can, and his the sort of way he reads the game as well. He like you'll think, nah, there's no way he's read me like a book here, and then
It
next thing you
it
know,
feels it feels like watching a chess match where like the player is already thinking like 3 or 4 steps ahead, and that's what like having seen his replays and stuff in the past. That's what that feels like sometimes.
yeah, 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 absolutely. That's probably a really good analogy. But to be fair, he knows exactly what he wants to do and how to get there well before you do. I think with Encore is, uh, you know, he's kind of the opposite way in that regard, but like not so much in terms of the not being able to read the game, but that he spends a lot of time prepping, but the prep then pays off. The prep that work that he puts in. I mean, it's obvious, and it's credit to the prep work that he's the regular season champion, and he's made it to grand finals as well. It works out in his favor, and he's someone with a lot of VGC experience. Not as much draft experience. Last season was, you wouldn't believe it, was his first season of draft. I
Is
think
it really?
yeah. I think he's got a sort of team. Well, he had a team last season, but he has a team this season that he's very very comfortable with and knows how to get the most out of. He is. I think it's become a bit of a meme at this point, but I think he wouldn't mind admitting that he does sort of shoulder on the rain mode when it comes to teams, but that's because he knows how to work in rain and get the most out of a team when it comes to rain. So that's purely why I think it'll go to a second best of three, because just of how well Encore will play the team. But as I think then, as you said, Sick knows how to make them adjustments and will already be thinking ahead to that second to best of three of like, oh well, I need to do this and this if it goes to this. And yeah, I think personally think that Sick has this, but I've been proven wrong before. I'm sure I can be proven wrong again. It's been known to happen. But it's honestly it could go either way. They both finished on the same record in regular season. They've obviously both made it to grand finals. So we have, for the first time in a while, the two best teams in the playoff grand finals. So it's gonna be very exciting to see. I think we're just waiting on Sick to reply at the minute. I believe.
He's on the train.
I was gonna say I believe he's on the train at the minute. So I'm sure we'll get going. And I think they're not due to play for another couple of minutes anyway.
Who's responsible for that nickname, by the way?
Um,
Is that a Dogsy thing?
I want to say it's Dogsy that's done it, but I don't know, to be honest. Dogsy at the minute is seeing his wife in Pakistan, so I don't I don't know that it was him. It might have just been Sick's own doing, but I can see why you would think it was Dogsy.
Yeah,
It could have been Aaron as well. We can't count out Aaron.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah,
That's fair.
Could have been Aaron, but Dogsy does tend to come out with just some random hilarious nicknames. I actually didn't realize we had Kevs in the Discord because he joined like last year sometime, and Dogsy immediately changed his nickname. Something like
Yeah.
Ice Agents looking for me, and then like Kevs is joining for next season, and I messaged him, was like, oh my god, you're not even in the Discord. And he's like, no, I am. I'm just not under the name that you're expecting. I was like, shit.
Yeah, it's like, and I pretty much kind of joined like quietly, so I don't think he saw that I joined, so that's why I don't have a nickname.
You've snuck in, and
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time before he finds you.
As like,
He always finds a way.
yeah, and I was like, and I'm looking forward to see what he comes up with. It was like, fun fact, like when I first started draft a year ago, Dogsy was my first opponent.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, damn.
that was he was my first opponent. It was a lot of fun too.
He does tend he doesn't take it very seriously, but that's not to like a fault of his. I think he just has some fun with it.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I was try harding because I felt like I had something to prove, but like the game was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Um, he's he'll like forget things as well. Like he was playing in the championship winners final against Haystodge, and like in this grand finals they were allowed to change their team for the sort of second half of the final. He spent the time in between the matches talking to me about what he wanted to change, and then just didn't do it. He just forgot. And so just joined the next half of the game with the same team. I was like, oh, all right then.
Whoops.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah, I was like, I think I played him twice. I played him with when I first joined WPL a year ago, and then I played him again shortly after my home state got wrecked by hurricanes
Oh
last
gosh.
year,
Oh man.
like in like September. So I'm literally playing him off like with my house and my internet being run off a generator. But it was still a good game.
It seems to be a thing with the American players in our league that they'll like they're doing fine, and then all of a sudden we don't hear from them, and there's usually like one of two major dramas has happened. Either there's been a major flood or they've been hit by a hurricane. Um,
Mhm.
I know Lumaris in the league, where he lives, had a hurricane, and a tree came through his house, so he went quiet for a while. So it's like there always seems to be
Yeah,
something.
Why does none of this stuff happen to me? Like I live like on the East
Well,
Coast,
you
and
should be
none,
happy this doesn't happen to you,
none,
Ted.
I mean, yeah,
none of the exciting stuff happens.
it definitely depends on where in the East Coast. I I live in Florida. I'm a Florida man. Like it had like this kind of stuff is pretty common nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, Florida. Yeah, I get because that's hurricane
Mhm.
territory.
Yeah,
Um, well, all the way like up north where I am, there's nothing.
Yeah, and like
yeah,
Dicey's
but
from like
you guys have to deal with snow.
yeah. I was
So
gonna
Yeah, a
say
little
Ted,
bit,
you get
a
you
little
get
bit.
pretty
Yeah.
bad snowstorms, whereas in England it just rains. We just get rain, and then occasional sun, and then rain. That's all we have to look forward to. There's no in between. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's like we either have torrential downpours and hurricanes, or we have oppressive sun.
Yeah, and then like in Florida, it's got to be humid as hell, right?
It is. So the real field temperatures get
Yeah.
up to almost last year got up to 41 degrees Celsius.
That's yuck. That's disgusting.
And this was back when I worked outside.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was burnt to a crisp.
I know when I visited Texas to visit my ex, and it was like that sort of hot, but it was also dry heat and humidity, and I was just they were just like, oh, what's the problem? Like this is a nice day out, and I was just suffering. We were walking around the zoo, and I was having to stop at every water station to just drink like a liter of water. And it's like this
Well,
is
it's like
hell.
you guys' normal climate's more like 20 something degrees though, isn't it?
Like apart from last summer where we got like 40 degrees, a hot summer for us is like 27 degrees, which would maybe like I don't know, 70,
That's about
80.
yeah, that's 70 for us, which is that's what I keep my house at
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Exactly. Like we
That's
just
what the air conditioning keeps it at.
the our houses and stuff, because it's cold here, and all buildings are built to keep heat in, so it gets hot outside, so it just gets even hotter inside, and there's no aircon anywhere ever.
Oh my
So
goodness.
it's pain and suffering.
Yeah, I can say right now, like the weather right now for me is around 80 degrees, and that's normal spring weather, at least for the high. So
It's
yeah, it just varies between state.
it's currently 20 degrees Celsius where I am in England, and it feels too hot. I'm in my game room just sweating and dying.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Is it?
Sick seems to have responded, so I think we're going to be getting going here soon. Awesome. Of course, his train was delayed.
Yeah.
Did
Living up.
I don't know if you know this, Guardian, but I played Sick in relegation playoff finals last season, and we didn't actually end up finishing our game because the train broke down and his Wi-Fi went off.
Oh no.
So he'd won anyway, so it didn't matter. But it was a good thing he had, because we were just stuck for about 10-15 minutes, being like, well, he might come back.
Yeah. I can't.
Uh,
I know that pain. Not necessarily for the train, but for just internet cutting out. But it's like, God, that's gotta suck.
he just seems to be. I think he just lives on trains. I think he doesn't actually have a house. He just rides around on trains all day. Because whenever I've seen him play, or whenever I've played him, he's always on a train.
Hence the nickname.
Yeah, it's the nickname. Yeah. Alright, Encore's going to share links. We'll get going in just a second.
Alright.
Awesome.
I mean, but to be fair, like train Wi-Fi is pretty shitty.
It's
It
bad.
really
I don't
is.
think I've ever been on a train with good Wi-Fi. I kind of like
I don't.
when I've been going to visit my girlfriend's family in York. I've like tried using the train Wi-Fi to play a few games on Showdown, and it's just hell.
Yeah, like I don't think I've ever actually been on a train with Wi-Fi at all. So
To be honest,
Yeah, I've been on a few.
that doesn't surprise. I can imagine Americans familiar to being on subways, but I don't know. I've met many Americans who've been on like a actual chugga chugga choo choo sort of train.
yeah, like, definitely do a lot. We do a lot more like steam trains, not even like magnet train, anything like that. It's just rough.
Yeah. Stuff is too humid for subways. Yeah, can you imagine a subway in Florida where it's already like humid as hell and there's like alligators everywhere? There'd be buskers on the subway just getting eaten up
But
by like subway alligators.
but knowing Florida, like you would go through a subway, you'd see this crackhead with a gator on a leash, and you just go, "Oh, that's Larry. He's harmless." That's what Florida is like. Like we are an unmoderated PUBG server of a state.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Florida man sets alligator on entire line of commuters.
Yeah. So I used to joke around. There was a picture going around of a alligator with a knife in its head. It's
What the
just
fuck?
chilling, and I think we were sharing a meme. It was just like whoever shall pull the sword out of the gator's head shall be known as the king of Florida. It's Excaligator. It was just some stupid stuff.
That's what happens when you use Night Slash on Skelly Edge.
It just gets stuck.
Just stuck in its head.
Oh Lord!
God.
Wow, unaware really do go hard.
Yeah. It's so unaware it doesn't realise there's a knife stuck in its head. Oh. Alright, he shared the link there, but that's fine. Here we go then. Awesome. Grand finals is a go, boys and girls. Let me just zoom into the screen for you guys on the stream.
Oh, it looks like I guessed the right six.
I was gonna
Six
say, yeah, you
days.
picked the exact six. Encore's gone with Weavile, Salamanca, Dengo, Cactan is there, and Dreadnought and Pelipper. Interesting.
So he did go the rain mode.
He's gone with the rain mode, so Pelipper has came. It's very interesting.
Here's hoping that it benefits him more than it benefits Sick here.
There is that Palafin there. Gotta be careful of.
Yeah, well, outside of the Palafin, he's gone full Disquake.
Yes. Yeah. He really has.
So I'm willing to hazard a guess that Orthworm should probably Terra Ground so that it can be a good supportive piece next to both Garchomp and Kilowattrel.
Yeah, it can just eat up those earthquakes or eat up the discharges.
Mm-hmm.
Doing big damage to the Pelipper. What do you think if Terra goes for on the Dreadnought? Do you think Grass Terra, or do you think?
I could see a Water Terra.
Here we go.
for boosting liquidation. Yeah.
Game 1 is a go. We're leading off with Garchomp and Polyphene on 6 side. We've got Salamence and Weavile on the side of Encore.
This is, in looking at the team, I think this is the ideal lead from him, especially if he's running more of a support set on the Weavile. I think he was probably hoping to see more like a Kilowattrel here to try to knock it out early. But
Goes straight for the switch into off one.
Terra Water.
Terra Water on both sides. Yeah, Fake Out goes into the Garchomp. It's Rough Skin Garchomp as well. And there is
that's not the Dragon Dance. That's huge.
The setup move straight away. Having that speed control over Sick, I think this early on's important too.
There's and Encore, I don't know if he's carrying it, but he does have the option to either Tailwind or Icy Wind here, or do both, just to try to ensure speed control. But I don't know what is going through his head right now quite yet. It's too early to tell.
The switch in the power bet. And Protect on the Sick does love them protects.
Terra Blast.
Terra Blast in off.
Reads it properly though.
Yeah, and goes straight to the
Iron defense.
Oof.
Now that Terra Blast is going to do way less to that.
Garchomp living the Dragon Claw as well. That's insane. Hydro Pump's going to take out the off one.
That's an amazing start.
And crit as well, and that's Salamence living that. Jesus. Oh my god.
That is one bulky Salamence.
Yeah. God, Polyphene Hero comes in now.
I just realized that Salamence is Moxie.
Yes.
Intimidate didn't proc.
Yeah, it's Moxie. That could be scary. In comes it's a Hydreigon switch in, Protect out from the Salamence.
Called scary. It right. Hydro Pump into that.
Yeah.
That was a decent switch from Sick to cover.
Yeah, good read from Sick, and he's got the Polyphene Hero form in as well in the rain. Goes into the Cacturn.
It
lived.
It lived.
And down goes the Hydreigon. It's Encore up 2 before a 2 and gets that Moxie boost now.
Yep.
This is looking like a very strong game 1 start by Encore.
But I feel like Encore has to protect here, otherwise all the work he's putting into the Salamence just goes down.
It's whether does Sick have anything on Polyphene to take out Cacturn? No, it goes to the switch back.
Doesn't matter. He goes right back here.
Yeah.
Goes for the Protect there. That was a good switch.
Great read from Encore.
That's right. Salamence lost its immunity, so now that hits everything.
Yeah, like that. It's everything but the Pelipper.
Well, that wasn't there before.
Jet Punch takes out the Salamence. The Hurricane's going to take out the Garchomp.
The Blind Hurricane with the rain stopping.
Blind Hurricane. Is this season 2 grand finals again? Blind Hurricane, Spiky Shield.
I don't see why he's Spiky Shield.
There is Ice Punch.
That would be why. That'd be why he read the. He just kind of predicted that it was there.
Yeah. Big Ice Punch reads.
And very strong showing from Encore.
Encore takes game number 1.
That's a 3-0. I don't see this kind of numbers put against Sick very often. Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah. But it was really huge predictions on both sides. But I think getting that Dragon Dance off early really helped out Encore.
Also, this may just be a Scarf Pelipper because I only saw him click Hurricane it was times in a row. 2 Hydro Pumps and then 2-3 Hurricanes, right?
Yeah. So also.
He switched out after the 2 Hydro Pumps and then came back in and clicked Hurricane, so maybe Scarf.
It would have to be in order to because it outsped the Polyphene.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't pick up on that. Yeah, so it's got to be.
I don't very often see Polyphenes that aren't max speed.
It's same leads for Encore, and Sick switching up a little bit brings out the Gardevoir with the Polyphene. Goes straight for the switch out on the Polyphene. Is Encore going to get the read on that though? Goes for a Snarl with Weavile.
We see clear
Dragons. Yeah, clear. And there's the Trick Room. So we said about the Trick Room mode. But we said it more for Encore side though, didn't we? Really, it's quite surprising on
Gardevoir is a very solid
electric.
Electric Terror.
That's interesting.
The read there.
But this is a support Weavile, so now it's just going to try to neuter whatever's on the field at this point in time.
Yeah, I was gonna say Moonblast.
However, I think this Terra Blast just Doesn't kill.
Almost.
Proxysimus
Almost.
Berry, Terrorblast is
Wow.
going to get rid of the Gardevoir with that Rain boost and gets the Moxie boost as well now. That is a huge start again for Encore. Some good information on both sides there as well.
Something to point out. I think that Hydreigon is scarfed on Sick side.
Oh, really?
Well, think about it. It's outspeeding a Dragon Dance Salamence
So,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's going to
That was a good switch.
Yeah, and there's the substitute. That's always the risky thing against Sick if you're going to go for a protector or setup move. If you've got that Garchomp out there or anything like that, he's going to substitute.
It's hard. It's hard to let up pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this next few times is going to be pretty big. Here goes the Terrorblast again, and the Weavile. Oh, there's the Earthquake. That's going to take out the Weavile.
What was the Weavile going for that it was slower than Garchomp?
We were under Trick Room.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Trick Room was up still.
Lamau.
I
swear I know how this game works.
Yeah. I played Pokemon before. What are you talking about?
I play it a game.
Oh, there's Arrogance. It's gonna knock out the
Get rid of
substitute,
that.
the Dragon Claw into the Cacturn. Oh,
Cacturn's bulky.
Tanks it, man. What the hell? Oh, the Leech Seed
No.
miss. Oh, the miss.
That's huge.
It's a huge Leech Seed miss. One more turn of Rain to go. Do you think maybe Encore switches out the Pelipper here? Oh, in comes the Palafin.
I don't think so.
No, sticks with it.
I don't see a reason for him to. He's he's in a good position to keep putting pressure. It was about time he switched out the Hydreigon, considering how low it was.
The low special attack drops. Oh, that's big
Drops
damage
it half.
confusion as well. Oh, it doesn't land.
But he lived.
Encore making a great read there. Gets the Salamence in on time.
That Salamence has to protect now.
I'm extremely curious why no
Encore reads the read into Pelipper instead.
Switch back into the Garchomp. Yeah. There's the Hurricane. That's going to take out the Garchomp.
Picks it up.
There's a Terrorblast. That's going to take out Pelipper down to a 2v2.
That's unfortunate. So, Cacturn comes back out.
And I don't think Dragon Claw actually KOs.
No, it
does not.
It did 39% last time. We'd need a crit. Oh, this is on absolute tender hooks here in turn 10. Big turn coming up. Cacturn just putting in the work. This thing, it's a D tier, man.
This is like it's a D tier on the list, but an A tier in our hearts.
Yeah, exactly. Goes the Jet Punch, down goes the Salamence, and Terrorblast is going to get rid of the Cacturn, and we go to a game number 3 in this first best of 3. I believe the third game is up as well.
It is. It's posted.
Perfect. This could be the decider then. Do we go to a second set, or is Sick going to clinch it here? Oh, that was a close-ass game. Much closer than game 1. I think that Leech Seed miss as well was pretty big.
I think the Leech Seed miss was huge. Yeah. I think even though he got the confused, the fact that it didn't
confuse,
it didn't hit itself, was huge. Like, Sick just was able to get too much offensive pressure on the board. However, the amount of information he gave away that game is huge.
Yeah, like he knows the terror on the Hydreigon.
He knows terror on the Hydreigon. He knows the item on the Hydreigon now.
Yeah, Trick Rooms on the Gardevoir and his Clear Amulet. It's huge information. I mean, Sick equally has got some good information there as well, I suppose, but he doesn't know what the Dreadnought or Goldengo are packing.
Because I definitely think there's a place for both of them here. It's just how does he fit it into a strategy?
It's Kilowattrel and Palafin this time. Do you think Sick just goes straight for the switch out on Palafin?
I think he kind of has to.
Yeah, Encore leading the same.
This could be cover cloak.
Protect Kilowattrel, or he reads the protect. Dragon Dance comes out on the Salamence. Is he going to go for the Ice Punch? Oh, he does! Oh, the Salamence just lives!
So much.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That does so much damage, though.
Jesus. Oh, that could have really backfired there. Goes for the Protect on the Salamence. Protect comes out on the... Oh, and there's the Tailwind.
Free Tailwind.
Oh, that's going to...
Sash.
The Sash on the kilowatt roll there.
It sucks though.
In comes the
That
Garchomp.
kilowatt will want a speed tie.
There we go. Oh, any paras?
You see para?
Oh, one para. That's going to get rid of the kilowatt roll, but does have the speed control. Encore trying to make the read there, switching in the Cacturne for the Salamence. Sacrifices those boosts.
Yeah, so I don't know if this Weavile's not max speed, but like that should have been speed tie, and like if it was, then Sick just won both of them.
Yeah, and that is a scary duo to be facing down as well, isn't it? Garchomp and Hydreigon.
Yikes!
Oh man.
Not with the
Two
speeds.
Oh, there's the switch.
Dragon Claw.
Gets the rain out. Oh, the Dracometeor misses.
That's huge.
Oh, a toxic
Toxic
spike
spike.
on the right. Yeah, I think that's a good read from Encore. Knows that Sick likes to switch things around. Getting a poison off could be the difference.
I mean, yeah, I guess with the amount of switching around hazards is not the worst thing here. It's still weird to see.
It's not. You're not used to seeing it in doubles, really.
No.
Well, not VGC or draft.
Now the question is, can Sick afford switching into the Palafin now with toxic spikes on the field?
No switches. Goes for the substitute. There it is. Yeah, had to go for the substitute. Gets rid of the Pelipper. Oh, so that rain, once it ends in 3 turns, is gone.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't necessarily understand the spiky shield on Cacturne there.
Probably reading a Dragon Claw.
Yeah, it's maybe trying to...
I was like, he lives that Dragon Claw. That only does about 37%.
Oh, there's the fake out on Hydreigon. Now comes the Earthquake. Oh, that gets rid of the Weavers. It's a 3v2. Does get the lead seed off this time, though. Just going to get some of that HP back. But all the while, Garchomp is behind a substitute. Salamence on half HP.
And also this Hydreigon is on a timer as well with the Leech Seed.
Wait a minute.
Slowly chipping away.
Am I incorrect here?
Oh, in comes the switch. He's going to get the poison on the Palafin. Protect from the Salamence. Oh.
I was wrong. That is not... That, Hydreigon was not, scarfed.
No, because we were in the trick room, right? I realized that when we realized we were in the trick room.
I'm sitting there immediately last meeting. I was like, it's gotta be scarfed. It's gotta be scarfed. Yeah, trick room. Trick room's great. I wish I could see it a little better.
Probably most likely specs.
My
Well,
assets.
maybe.
Oh, there's the water terror. Oh, Solomon's just linked. Oh, he goes to the double ins. It's all up to Cacturne. The 1v3 goes to the Giga Drain into the Palafin. Oh,
It's like that Palafin.
I think, and this is going to be game. Oh, goes to the switch. Yeah, Cacturne is living that. It's gonna end the substitute.
Strong enough to get rid of the
substitute. Yeah, damn.
Yeah. It's just a neutral hit.
Oh, it gets the substitute back up again. Dracometeor gets rid of it, and there it is. Our Season 6 TBPL champion, Cigarettin, and his chillin' Chespins. Whoa. I'm sweating. I'm sweating for Sick and Encore. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was a good set.
Really, really fun set. I really thought we were in for a close one after that game one, but Sick played those next 2 games.
I think Encore relied too much on the Pelipper there, and Sick very quickly adjusted.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And that's what we mentioned, earlier on, just how good Sick is making the adjustments. I bet when he saw what was going off in game 1, he was already thinking about game 2 and 3 and what he wanted to do. But there it is, Chillin' Chespins, your Season 6 champions.
We had that ready.
Yeah.
Ready. Well, there it is, boys and girls. Your Season 6 TBPL champion, Sick and his Chillin' Chespins, at the first time of asking, promoted from the championship last season, champions of the TBPL this season. Congrats to Sick and GG's and commiserations to Encore and everyone who played in playoffs. It's been a fantastic season, and I hope you will join us again for Season 7 starting in the next couple of weeks. We'll be drafting in about 2 weeks' time, with the season starting in about 3 weeks' time. TBPL show will return for Season 7, so I hope you look forward to that. I have been your host, Matt Starr. Thank you very much to Guardian and Ted for the commentary on Grand Finals and that insight. Very, very good to have it. Glad to have you both, and would happily do it with you guys again. But for now, goodbye and good night. Mwah.